If I had $1 for every time I said I would never, ever, ever run for any public office, I probably could fund the campaign without asking for any donations. I'm not a politician. I'm an attorney. I'm an attorney who has been in the halls of this courthouse and the courthouses in our Tri-County area for over 30 years. If you came here expecting me to say I was going to fix all of the problems in Mahoning County and the crime rate would plummet and everything would be great, you're going to be disappointed. Politicians make those types of promises that they can never follow through on. I'm not a politician. I'm an attorney who's been in these courtrooms, who's held hearings and had trials on some of the most horrific crimes that have been committed in our community. And because I've been in the hallways of this courthouse working 5 days a week and sitting in my office 6 and 7 days a week, I know some of the problems we have. Quite frankly, I think I can do a better job than's being done right now, and that's why I'm running. You see, I knew when I was in 6th grade I wanted to be a lawyer. And I knew then why I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to serve people, I wanted to help people, and I wanted to make our community a better place. And so, I'm not going to go through my resume. You guys can go on the website and see my history. I started working. I started finding my path for what I thought was the best way to accomplish those 3 goals. I was in the prosecutor's office for 4 years. When I came back to Youngstown after law school, I worked in our civil division. I know the importance of the civil division, of representing our departments, our agencies, and our taxpayers. I know our citizens deserve to have confidence that when an opinion is rendered or action is taken, they know there's no personal agendas. They know there's no other reason for that action other than it's the right thing under the law. After 4 years in the prosecutor's office, I left to hang out my shingle. I started my own practice. And for 11 years, all I did was civil work. I had no interest in criminal defense work back then. I did labor and employment law. I represented police officers. I represented firemen. I did a lot of civil service law. I tried a medical malpractice case in this courthouse, and after that trial, Judge Durkin came up to me and said, "Lynn, would you consider going on our court-appointed list? We need attorneys representing indigent defendants who have passion for what they do, who care about people, and who have a strong work ethic." And within 6 months, I went on our court-appointed list, and I started doing criminal defense work. I've pursued that over the years and have developed a pretty decent practice. For those of you who know me, you know my pictures in the paper because I've had some of the worst cases. But I've always done that work with those 3 goals in mind: serving people, helping people, and making our community better. So, I'm standing before you now, deciding to take a new course in my career because I think I could serve those 3 purposes better as your county prosecutor. There are things that are occurring and have been occurring that can be done better. We've had the same prosecutor for 25 years, and to be sure, he ran for the right reasons. He saw something wrong in how the prosecutor's office was being run, and he chose to run to make a difference. Likewise, I've observed things that are just wrong, and I'm choosing to run because I believe I can make a difference. I believe I can do it better. There are things that impact our safety. There are things that impact the trust our community has in our justice system that need to be improved. If cases are lost in this courthouse, not because of the strength of the evidence, But because procedures aren't followed, rules aren't followed, or prosecutors do things they're not supposed to, we're failing. We fail the victims, we fail the police, and we fail the community. And I'm going to tell you, over the past 20 years, there's been mistrials in death penalty cases because evidence hasn't been turned over. Felonious assault, murder cases, gun cases, gross sexual imposition, rape cases, and major drug offenses have been dismissed or convictions vacated, not because of novel legal issues, but because evidence wasn't turned over or the prosecutor didn't follow the rules. That should never happen. When we walk out of this courthouse, whether you're a victim, a defendant, a prosecutor, an attorney, a juror, or a judge, we should all have confidence that the procedures that were used were in accordance with the law. That's how we instill faith in our justice system. That's how we get people to want to come forward and participate, by having a system that follows the rules and the law. There's a phrase that goes way back. We are a nation of laws, not of men. And what it at its very core means is that every person in our country should have the confidence that the system isn't about your race, your gender, your national origin, where you live. It should be about the laws being uniformly applied and enforced. And so, we need to focus on our violent crimes. We need to focus on making sure those are aggressively and vigorously pursued so that people who are a threat to our community are locked up. We need to do a better job of working with law enforcement for a unified presentation of cases so that there's no issue with evidence being turned over. I know firsthand the importance of making sure victims and witnesses are treated fairly and that laws are enforced. I grew up on the east side of Youngstown, went to grade school in Camel. My family had a gas station on 422 on the east side. It's the gas station my brother was shot at. It's the gas station that was robbed over and over again. We went from being open 24 hours a day to closing by dark. I worked in the Lincoln Knowles Plaza. I worked retail. I saw stores putting bars up and closing earlier and earlier. When laws are not vigorously and uniformly enforced, the community suffers. Businesses suffer. We can change some of that. We're not going to fix it all. You don't win every case. But you can make a difference by making sure when you prosecute a case, it's done within the bounds of the law. I can't promise you the crime rate will drop. I can't promise you everything will always be a victory for the prosecutor's office. I can promise you that the same work ethic that I've employed for the past 32 years, I will bring to the prosecutor's office. I can promise you I will work as hard as I have in private practice to represent the citizens of Mahoning County. I can promise you that it will be done with integrity, with impartiality, and with fairness. If you want a prosecutor who's worked in the halls of this courthouse every day for 30 years, who's tried cases, who respects the rule of law, if you want a prosecutor who will impartially enforce the law and work with law enforcement and train young prosecutors to do the same, then I'd ask you to vote for me. The primary is in March of 2024, so we have just over a year, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the next year. I really appreciate everybody who has come out today. It's wonderful to see every walk of life here, not just attorneys, not just family, not just friends. People in our community who want it to be better. I've asked for their support. I'm going to ask for everyone else's support in Mahoning County because I think it can be done better than it is right now. and I have the experience and the integrity to make sure that happens. I am open to taking any questions if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, I'll hang around and talk as long as you want me to. Any questions? Nope? Okay. Thank you all for coming today. We got a long road ahead of us over the next year, and I hope to see a lot of you out there. We have people walking around with volunteer cards and with clipboards, volunteers taking names. If you want to be involved in the campaign, if you want to help us over the next year, please make sure you see one of them so we can get your contact information. Thank you.